Good evening. I'm so excited to be here with you today. My name is Chris Scott, and today I'm going to be talking about spiritual gifts and finding your spiritual gifts. As you see, I bought a few gift packages with me to talk about those gifts and how those gifts are inside of us, and when unwrapped, we discover what they are. Have you ever asked yourself, what on earth am I here for? Well, that's an important question that many people ask themselves. Imagine knowing exactly what God placed you here on earth for. Do you know what your purpose is? I've recently written a book that was released called Discovering Your Spiritual Gifts and Connecting Your Dots to Purpose. So today, that's what we're going to talk about, because I need for you to understand that spiritual gifts plus passion equals your purpose. You must know what your spiritual gifts are. Finding a Place Ministries, which is at www.placeministries.org, did a study of 40,000 people that took the spiritual gift assessment, right? And guess what? They found that 20% of all of those 40,000 people actually tested to have the gift of administration. So there's so many gifts in the Bible outlined in 1 Corinthians, and you can learn more about those spiritual gifts there. So I'm also excited to say, some of you may have heard of Dr. Miles Monroe, a famous preacher that actually died in a plane crash a few years ago. He said that the wealthiest places are not banks, are not different places like that, but they're actually the cemeteries, because there lies dreams and visions that were never started. So the purpose of my speech today is to help you to find your purpose by discovering your spiritual gifts, right? Plus your passion, which will equal your purpose. And we'll go on to further studies at another time, but today I want you to get the gist of it. Discovering your spiritual gifts, first of all, you need to understand that it's a purpose. Just like unwrapping these boxes, that it's a process. Unwrapping these boxes, gift boxes, just like at Christmas time when we unwrap gift boxes, it's a process. It takes time. We take the tape off. We take the ribbons off, and we do it one at a time. Now, there are 4 important reasons why you need to know what your spiritual gifts are, because knowing your spiritual gifts are very important to God, because it allows us to serve our purpose here on earth. So it clearly helps us to clearly understand the purpose that God has in our lives. So once you know your spiritual gifts and you're operating in them, you'll understand your purpose here on earth. The other thing is, it helps us to be able to help others. When we know what we do, when we know what our spiritual gifts are, then we're able to help others. It also helps build your self-esteem, and it helps build your self-confidence, because you know whose you are at that point, and you know who you are, and you're operating in your area of giftedness. And knowing your spiritual gifts helps to fill a void. Sometimes we walk around thinking, what on earth am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing here? But once you know what your spiritual gifts are, you won't ask that question anymore, because you'll clearly understand what you're supposed to be doing. And you know what I love? The Bible tells us that the immovable person is one who knows their purpose, and they're like a rock rooted in the ground that cannot be moved. I think about a boulder being in the ground and it cannot be moved, and that's an immovable person who knows their gifts. Webster's dictionary tells us that the word immovable means that it cannot be moved. It's unable to be moved. So people can't tell you which way to go, tell you what you're supposed to be doing, because we're supposed to turn to God for that. Not man pleasers, but God pleaser, and God will show us what our spiritual gifts are. So be an immovable person. Passion without knowing your gifts is purpose wasted. So you can have all the passion in the world, love to do things, but if you don't know what your gifts are, if you don't know what lies in these bags, then it's purpose wasted. So wouldn't it be great to know what your gifts are? Yeah, you agree with me? Yeah, I figured you would. That's awesome. See, everyone has a purpose. Yes, even you. God has placed us all here on earth for a purpose. So don't think that I'm not here for any reason. Yes, you are. The whole thing is you have to figure out what that reason is. So again, seek God and not man to find your purpose. And the way that you do that is to find out what your spiritual gifts are by taking a spiritual gift assessment, right? And then you know what your passions are. And your passions are things like dance, acting, playing the piano. So when you know what your spiritual gifts are, like it could be the gift of encouragement, and then maybe you're a dancer. So coupled with that shows your purpose in life, what you're supposed to be doing. Encouraging people through the gift of dance may be yours. So now that you understand why it's important to know your spiritual gift, I want you to remember one thing as I leave you today. I want you to remember that spiritual gifts plus passion equals purpose. And success begins when you connect the dots to your purpose. I'm glad to tell you about spiritual gifts today.